especially for girls anyway, once you lose your virginity, you sort of are in this abyss of not really knowing what's going to happen. Like, so much of people's lives up until sort of when they're 16 or however old they are is this waiting for sex that's going to be a big deal and it's going to change their lives, and then it happens and then you don't really know where you're at. And I didn't really like the fact that that existed, and I thought we should talk about it. And then, because I like theatre, I thought, let's do a play about it and talk about it in front of people rather than just having this one conversation. Charlotte is the protagonist, if you will. She's just lost her virginity. She's the basis of it all. She doesn't know where she's at. There's Ricky, who is a lad. He's the sort of one that doesn't really think that talking about sex is an issue. He doesn't think that sex is a big emotional thing. He doesn't think it's important. Emily, who's basically the complete opposite. She was a victim of sexual abuse. She was quite young, and as a result, sex is like this big, huge, scary thing for her. Then there's Gemma, who's a lesbian. She talks about sort of the way that the LGBT community looks at sex. Nicholas, who's a virgin, and he talks about how sex is a really big deal to him even though he's not had sex. Sam and George, who talk about sort of sex through the eyes of being in a relationship. We think that we're doing each other a favour not talking about sex because we're sort of conforming and no one really wants to be told what's right and what's wrong in our private lives. But if we did talk about it, potentially we wouldn't have so many problems.
Sex is very out there in media, but we don't talk about it. It's a weird parallel.
There's no warnings on all sexual assault, consent, things like that. I think that needs to be brought in to education because, like I said, at the moment it is just about the technicalities of sex, and from that we don't feel comfortable discussing the emotions.
I think there are some people that prefer to keep it to themselves, and that's fine. But you shouldn't be afraid of speaking out, I guess is the point that we want for this play. If you want to share something, you shouldn't feel like you should keep it in.
Everyone does talk about it, but not in this kind of a way. Do you know what I mean? Like it's always kind of a boasty thing or something that's like shoved under the carpet. And I don't really know why we do it. I think it's just one of those taboo subjects.
Perfect, thank you. That's not meant to be rude, but that's all we want to hear from you, quite frankly. I'm joking. We'll come back to you. We sort of like to leave it talking to returning visitors, but we've had it in the past where people sort of want to chip in, but if you could sort of hold that thought and we'll come back to you at the end. On that note, Charlotte, what's been on your mind this week?
Last weekend I lost my virginity, and I'm not quite sure how to feel about that.
It feels like every fucker in the whole world has had sex, just not me. So I'm left out of so many conversations.
I lost my virginity when I was 15, and yeah, that's pretty cool. She was a nice girl and all, but she wasn't my girlfriend at the time.
Yeah, it was quite early on. Like, I was at your house and you were ill, so I went upstairs to get hot water, and I bumped into your dad. But you hadn't told me that you hadn't told him about me, so it was awkward. But
for me, it happened with my uncle. We call him uncle. We're not related. He was not. He still is actually a very close family friend who, at the time, I trusted and loved very much. It just kind of came from nowhere. It was my...
We have been Northumbria Drama Society. Tell us what you think. I feel like the play went really well. You could tell that it hit a lot of people quite hard. And the audience members and the cast members, I think everyone's sort of taken that away as a positive, that it's not a swear word anymore. We achieved the goal of opening the conversation. We didn't achieve any kind of resolution, but I don't think we ever really knew what the answer was. It was a question of let's talk about this, not let's make everybody okay with talking about sex, because no, that's not the goal. I hope that it was more of a sort of a confidence boost and a support system of just giving people almost reassurance that they're normal. I think it's just really important in everything, not just when you're talking about sex, to approach things with a really open mind and accept that everybody's had different experiences. Not everyone agrees with what you think. You might be really confident in your own sexuality, but somebody else might not be, and that doesn't mean that they don't have sex or whatever, but they're just not going to ram it down your throat, and you don't need to draw it out of them. And I don't think that we ever really sort of tried to force people to tell us whether they're gay, to tell us whether they're virgin, but made them feel like they could if they wanted to. And I think that that's hopefully what we tried to sort of encourage the audience to do when they went away from the show, just to be more accepting and aware of other people's experiences, and hopefully from watching this documentary everybody will do the same.